Hey everyone, Cerebral Tackle back again. I've got a lot of additional details today and you're not going to want to miss it. But first, I want to say a thank you to all my viewers, all my subscribers. You guys are what makes this channel possible and I appreciate y'all more than you know. I would also like to give a special shout out to a few of the haters. You know, the other channels that come to my channel with a little post-it note and write down stuff so they can go vomit it back out on their channel. Thank you guys too. You know why? Man, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, we have a ton of new details to get to. You know, things like why he has not been arrested yet, despite what other channels continue to say. I mean, according to one channel, he's been arrested like 15 times by now. Not happened. People don't understand the difference between being arrested and being summoned. I don't know if it's because they're not, too bright or because they don't do the research. Probably they don't do the research. We're going to go over such things as details contained in the court documents, why the Ohio man is just the Florida man of the North, and we're going to have an exclusive interview with one Ryan Marano. You don't know his name, but you will soon. We're going to also let you know exactly where that fake Hundy's case stands right now and give you some more details about the stalking case that Chase Cominsky has added to his little rap sheet while being off the water. Before we get too deep into things, I want to tell you who I spoke with. His name is Ryan Marano. He's the son of Amy and Rich Marano. They own the Tenpin Bowling Alley out of Hermitage, Pennsylvania. The scene where this fake Hundy scandal went down, Ryan's brother Kyle, who also works there, happened to be the gentleman who these two fake hundreds was passed to. So, let's just say they have a unique perspective on what happened. Now, I kind of want to reset the stage for everyone so everyone can follow along, and those that you haven't heard kind of know where we're at. On January 21st, the Hermitage Police Department out of Pennsylvania was called to the Tenpin Bowling Alley on a call that two fake $100 bills had been passed there at the bowling alley late the night before. That day before, on the 20th, the till started out the day with three $100 bills inside. Two of them had been obtained from the bank a couple of days before and had already been authenticated and marked. Now, in talking to Ryan today, he told me that his brother Kyle, had received both of the $100 bills, and that at the time, they might have felt a bit funny, but nothing was too terribly off. They appeared to be pretty good fakes. Plus, they had never been passed any fake money there before, so they really didn't have a lot of reason for suspicion. It wasn't until that night, when they were counting down the till, that they realized what happened. They put everything up, kept it locked up like it belonged, and they called police over the next day. Now, according to surveillance footage and police reports, Caden Cominsky, Chase's son, was actually there with two friends that night. Surveillance footage shows the first fake bill being passed at 10:07. Let's just call him friend number one. Chase had given the bill to friend number one, told him, "Hey, I'm going to go to the restroom. Why don't you go ahead and pay for stuff?" Later, we'll find out that the friend thought this was a little weird because normally they all kind of pay for themselves. This time, Caden fronted the money. Friend number one went and paid. 10:07 p.m. The second bill was passed at 11:10 p.m. by Caden Cominsky himself. This was only a few minutes after a hand-to-hand transaction was seen on security cameras between Caden and his father. Now, according to Ryan Marano, the gentleman there from the bowling alley, Caden and his two buddies were regulars there. He said they're there, if not once a week, once every 2 weeks. They spend a lot of time there at that bowling alley. So they themselves didn't draw any attention. As far as any name association, they honestly had no idea that Caden was the son of Chase Cominsky. So, being regulars up there, it was another reason why the transaction didn't really draw any suspicion. A small twist though. This is the first time, to their recollection, that they had ever seen the dad, Chase Cominsky, up there bowling with the kid. So upon the officer arriving at the bowling alley on the morning of the 21st, he talked with Kyle Morano, the gentleman that actually took possession of the $100 bills, and another employee there as well. After he looked at the CCTV footage that we just spoke about and interviewed the guys there at the location, he paid a visit on over to Mr. Chase Cominsky's residence. The officer went to the residence, was invited in by Chase Cominsky. Caden was there and appeared to be wearing the same long-sleeve white shirt that he was seen wearing on the CCTV footage the night before. Now Caden, a high school senior and employee of DoorDash, claims he had no idea the $100 bills were fake and swears up and down they came from that PlayStation transaction where he sold a PlayStation to another dude for $350. Now you might remember me talking about neurolinguistics before, body language as it pertains to interview and interrogation. Well, guess what? This officer has his chops in that too. It says so in court documents. Well, as he sat down and began to talk to Chase and Caden, he noticed Caden getting a little nervous and even a little teary-eyed. Looks like the kid might be getting ready to crack. Not to mention, the kid kind of emphasizes that he didn't want to get anyone in trouble. After the officer leaves the Cominsky residence, he calls friend number one. Friend number one, the guy that actually passed that first fake bill, well, he spills the beans. Friend number one says that he actually arrived separately from Caden and friend number three. He met them there at the bowling alley. This friend number one had actually been invited by Caden via Snapchat to go bowling with him and friend number three. Now this is where friend number one tells the nice officer that, yeah, they're used to paying for themselves, but for whatever reason, Caden gave him this $100 bill and said, go pay for us. I've got to go pot. The friend also says that it wasn't until after they started bowling that Caden tells him the Hyundai he sent to pay with was fake and that his dad gave it to him. He also said he was going to get his dad up there to bring him another one. I know this is a lot to keep track of, but remember something. That statement that he knew the bill was fake and that he was going to get his dad to bring him another one, that was uttered between the two bills being passed, after the first one had been passed and before the second one got up there with his dad. That shows that he knew it was fake, his dad provided it, and he was going to get his dad to bring up another one. That's a gotcha. Where this comes in big is the next day. After the officer had the phone conversation with friend number one, well, that next day, friend number one and his dad calls the officer back to get a status on the case, probably because friend talked to daddy and dad knew crap had hit the fan. This is where friend number one divulges to the officer that it was right after Caden told him that bill was fake that he was going to text his dad and ask for the second bill. Why is that important? How do you think they got the search warrant for the phone? Sure enough, on January 30th, with search warrant in hand, the officer goes to Caden's high school, where he finds him talking to the school resource officer. Ask him if he has his phone on him. He does. He presents it. Now the cops got the phone. The rest is the icing on the cake. Those text messages, when you compare the timestamps from the phone of when the text messages were sent versus what was going on at the bowling alley, those text messages started only 5 minutes after that first bill was passed. Within that 5 minutes, you want to know what the first words out of Caden's mouth were? Caden immediately texts his dad, S worked, as in that S worked. His dad replies back, awesome. And then his dad says, should do another one from me. Caden replies back, tomorrow? Chase says, you still bowling? Caden replies back, yeah, bring one of those hundreds. Chase replies back, okay. Caden replies, you can come play. Cosmic starts at 11. That, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we call a conspiracy. Now, one thing I teased in the beginning, other channels keep saying, They've been arrested. They're arrested. They're arrested. Like every time a news story comes up, oh, they've been arrested. Should be a country song by now. But it's not. You know why? A little thing called facts get in the way. Like I said, Ohio, Pennsylvania, freaking Florida of the North. Of course, I'm only joking. Only Florida can be Florida, folks. But what I mean by that is every state has their own laws. You got people, a couple of folks in my comment section says, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You know, you can't post bond without being arrested. Wrong. Every state has its own different laws. Just because that might be that person's personal experience in their own home state doesn't mean it goes for everybody. Here's how it goes in Pennsylvania. A little thing that we've seen in both Pennsylvania and Ohio is the ability to post bond without being taken into custody. It happens on the day of your first court appearance, your arraignment. In this case, charges weren't even officially brought until February 6th of this year. How does that happen? It's this little line right here. It says, I ask that a warrant of arrest or a summons be issued and the defendant be required to answer the charges I have made. Or a summons. It doesn't mean the person, somebody goes to their house or their work and picks them up and arrests them. It means a summons can be issued. That summons can be presented in the form of a court officer or some kind of a service personnel that state has authenticated to perform that duty, to show up and provide that person with a summons to appear in court. That's what happened in this situation. Like you'll see here, no fingerprints were taken. He wasn't booked, folks. I've been telling you all along. Sorry, facts are facts. Just on a funny side note, this court document has Mr. Cominsky listed at a height of 5'4". It's probably about 4 inches taller than... never mind. Needless to say, I think Brad Williams could dunk on both of these clowns. Now, the reason you're getting this long-winded video today, as opposed to an update on what was supposed to happen in court today, is because it's been pushed. They're being tried separately, and their new court date is going to be March 14th of this year at 2:30 and 2:45 respectively. And lastly, to recap the charges, number 1 for Caden Cominsky, forgery, utters a forged writing. That's a felony in the 2nd degree. Number 2 for Caden, criminal conspiracy engaging in, also a felony of the 2nd degree. Third charge is trademark counterfeiting, distributes. That's distributing of the instrument. That is a misdemeanor 1. The final charge is one we're familiar with by now, theft by deception, false impression in this case. That's also a misdemeanor 1. Now, the theft by deception, that's the $100 in change they got back from those 2 fake Hyundais. Yep, theft by deception. They got their bowling for free and they got the $100 back on the night. Chase Cominsky, on the other hand, is being charged with criminal conspiracy. Namely, conspiracy with multiple criminal objectives. Those objectives, the charges that Caden is up for. The forgery, the trademark counterfeiting, and the theft by deception, those are kind of wrapped up into one criminal conspiracy charge here for old Daddy-O. Like I said, we should know more about this around March 14th when their next court date comes up. Are we done here today? Nope. I've got some more details for you on that stalking case that he has going on too. Now here's an update on his stalking case. 2 weeks prior to this incident occurring, police reports show that his wife conveyed to them that she had left him, left the house, filed for divorce, and filed for custody of the kids. So, on October 17th at 12:56 p.m., his wife gets a text from him. He's demanding she return his car back to him, a 2019 Chevy Equinox. What's really rich is he claims if she doesn't bring it back right now, he's going to call the police. He's going to call the police? Really? Now all this is going on as she's picking up a kid from school. Well, she passes a gas station on the way home. She sees his truck pull out of the gas station, and he starts to follow her closely, tailgating her. She said if she hit the brakes, there would easily be an accident. Meanwhile, as he's following her home, he's trying to get a hold of her by phone. He's not a happy dude. He follows her clear to her new residence. She refuses to get out of the car. She's waiting on police to show up. She only exits the vehicle once the cops get there. Smart move. Now again, on October 28th at 10:47 p.m., he starts texting her all over again. He says, "You're effed," then uses her name. "I feel so sorry for you. I have everything. The courts are going to see your true colors." Whose true colors? Then he goes on to start accusing her of all kinds of stuff. Next, he gains access to her Snapchat account, pretends to be her, and starts talking to a guy she went to high school with. I mean, seriously? What the f? He went on to claim that he gained access to her emails, had some, quote, letter of interest, pictures, all kinds of stuff. Dude is starting to get really hard over on the old creepo meter. We should know more about his stalking case on May 22nd at 2 p.m. At least that's the next court date. In closing, I want to wish a belated Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. I'm filming this on Valentine's Day, so thank you. Happy Valentine's. To my subscribers, my viewers, my lovers, if you will, thank you guys so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. To my haters, those that like to watch my content so they have facts to spew on their channel to make them look good, I'm glad you're here too. Thanks for the watch, guys. You know who you are. At the same time, I want to thank some other people. I want to thank my wife for sticking with me and bearing with me during all of this crazy research and recording and all that jazz. Plus, I think somewhere I'm contractually obligated to say it, and she knows how to shoot a gun. I also want to thank J-Car, my research assistant. You're awesome. Great friend, tremendous help to the channel. Mr. Matt Markey, you've helped me out on a few of these stories. My favorite reporter and Ohio's greatest. He's a bad, bad man. And for purposes of this story as well, the Morano family. Thank you guys so much. I had a great conversation with Ryan today. He's a good dude. Y'all should be proud. I appreciate the information. So guys, it's getting warmer outside, and you know what I'm going to tell you to do, right? Get out there. Keep it wet.